Welcome to the Stoic Golden Tribe, where men come to reclaim their strength, sharpen their wisdom, and remove every illusion society forces on them. Today we're diving into a truth most men never hear until it's too late. A truth that has cost men their money, their peace, their dignity, even their identity. Why being in a relationship? At 58, 60, or even 70 years old, can be one of the biggest mistakes a man can make, because at this age, a single wrong emotional move, a single wrong woman, a single moment of loneliness can destroy everything it took you a lifetime to build. This video is not to scare you, it is to prepare you. It is to protect the man who has already fought battles, survived storms, built himself back from nothing, and now has much more to lose than he ever did at 25. So take a breath, sit with this lesson, and listen carefully, because what I am about to share will save your life, your peace, and your future. Chapter 1. The age where love can cost you everything. When a man reaches 58, 60, 65, 70, he is no longer the same man he was in his 20s or 30s. At this age, every decision he makes is heavier. Every mistake is more expensive. Every emotional attachment carries consequences that can reshape the rest of his life. You see, in your younger years you could recover. You could lose money, lose time, lose a relationship, lose a home, and still rebuild. But in your late 50s, 60s, and 70s, rebuilding is no longer the same. Your energy is not unlimited. Your time is not infinite. And your peace is not something you can afford to gamble with. This is the age where a relationship can either bring you peace or completely drain the last good years of your life. And the truth most men don't want to admit is this. Many women don't choose older men for love. They choose older men for security, not emotional connection, not devotion, but what he has already built. Because at this stage of life, the average man has something incredibly valuable: stability, resources, life experience, a home, peace, a routine, a legacy, and most importantly, something to lose. And the moment a man has something to lose, he becomes a target for anyone who feels entitled to benefit from it. This is why so many men, especially after 58 or 60, end up trapped in relationships that drain them emotionally, financially, spiritually, all because they underestimated how dangerous loneliness can be. Loneliness is the invisible trap. It pushes older men to open their doors too quickly, to give too much too soon, to trust too deeply, and to ignore the red flags they would never ignore if they were younger. Because the truth is painful, but necessary. At this age, attachment can kill your peace. Wrong love can destroy your health. And one emotional mistake can cost you the freedom you worked your entire life to earn. This chapter is not about fear, it's about awareness. It's about protecting the man who has already sacrificed enough. It's about making sure you don't hand your final years to someone who doesn't deserve them. So before you fall in love, before you give away your time, before you hand out your trust, stop and ask yourself, is she adding to my peace, or is she slowly becoming the risk that might take it all away? Take a moment and think about that. And if you're listening right now, drop a comment below. Do you believe relationships become more risky for men as they get older? Chapter 2. The dangers of late life dependency, and why many women see older men as a lifeline. By the time a man reaches his late 50s, 60s, or 70s, he enters a stage of life where his value shifts, not his worth as a human being, but his utility in the eyes of others. And here is the cold truth society hides. Many women don't approach an older man because of love. They approach him because he represents stability. He represents comfort. He represents a safety net. And he represents a shortcut to a lifestyle they cannot build themselves. This is not every woman, but it is a reality older men must never ignore. Because at this age, you are no longer dealing with the same dating dynamics you faced at 30. Now you are dealing with women who already have failed relationships, emotional baggage, financial responsibilities, children they expect you to support, debts they want you to help clear, a lifestyle they can't maintain alone, or a loneliness they expect you to fix. And many older men, driven by compassion, nostalgia, or fear of being alone, walk straight into relationships that become burdens disguised as companionship. The shift from partner to provider. A younger man is often loved for his potential, but an older man is judged for what he has already built. Women evaluate him differently. Does he have a house? Is he financially stable? Does he have a pension? Can he take care of me? Is he lonely enough to tolerate anything I do? This is the unspoken truth. Older men are often loved for the resources they provide, not for the man they are. And once a woman realizes he fears loneliness, she knows she holds the power, because a man who fears being alone tolerates disrespect, ignores red flags, accepts manipulation, says yes when he should say no, gives more than he receives, sacrifices his peace just to keep someone beside him, and becomes emotionally dependent without realizing it. Dependency is the most dangerous position an older man can be in. Once you depend on someone emotionally at this age, you become vulnerable to guilt, pressure, emotional blackmail, financial exploitation, control, and eventually regret. The truth, no one tells men over 58. The biggest danger is not heartbreak, it's not rejection, it's not arguments. The biggest danger is losing yourself, losing your identity, losing the peace it took decades to build, losing the freedom you finally earned. And the moment a man forgets his own value, he allows others to define it for him. There are men in their 60s and 70s who were once strong, disciplined, respected, but now spend their days walking on eggshells around a woman who contributes nothing but demands everything, not because she is powerful, but because he is afraid of being alone. The price of a mistake at this age. If a man makes a bad relationship choice, at 28, he loses time. If he makes a bad relationship choice at 68, he loses the final years of his life. Your last decades should be your reward, your peace, your freedom, your rest, your self-respect, your quiet mornings, your calm evenings, your ability to live life on your terms. But one wrong woman can turn the years that should have been peaceful into years filled with chaos, stress, arguments, and emotional exhaustion. And here is the most painful truth. Older men don't get second chances. If you lose your peace at 65, it's harder to get it back. If you lose your money at 70, you don't have time to earn it again. If you lose your health to stress at 72, recovering becomes almost impossible. This is why a relationship at this age must be chosen with extreme caution, not with your emotions, not with your fear of loneliness, but with your mind, your boundaries, and your self-respect. Take a moment and think deeply. Are you choosing love? Or are you choosing companionship because you're afraid to be alone? If you're listening, drop a comment below. Do you think many older men settle for relationships out of fear rather than desire? Chapter 3. The silent risks: health, stress, family, and the loss of your life's work. When a man is in his late 50s, 60s, or 70s, he enters a stage of life where peace is no longer optional. It's medicine. Your mind, your body, and your spirit rely on stability more than ever. But the wrong relationship does the opposite. It becomes a source of slow, silent destruction that most older men don't recognize until the damage is irreversible. This chapter is about those silent dangers, the ones no one warns men about. 1. Stress hits, different after 60. In your 20s, stress is noise. In your 30s, it's a challenge. In your 40s, it's a burden. But after 58, 60, 70, stress becomes a killer. Doctors will tell you blood pressure rises faster, the heart gets more sensitive, Sleep gets more fragile. Recovery takes longer. Emotional turmoil weakens the immune system, and yet countless older men stay in relationships filled with arguments, disrespect, manipulation, and emotional chaos because they fear being alone. What they don't realize is this: a toxic partner can take years off your life, not metaphorically, literally. Stress destroys the body. Arguments steal your rest. Disrespect drains your spirit. Constant tension weakens your heart. The wrong relationship can age a man faster than time itself. 2. Your family may suffer, and you may not even notice. Some older men don't see the ripple effect of their late-life relationships. Distance grows between them and their children. Grandchildren stop visiting. Financial tensions appear. Family members feel replaced or ignored. Inheritance and property disputes begin. Resentment slowly builds. And all of this happens because the woman they chose becomes the new center of their world, not through love, but through dependency and manipulation. Many women who seek older men use isolation as a tactic. Why do you listen to your kids more than me? Your family doesn't want you to be happy. They only want your money. You don't need them. You have me. And slowly, the man pulls away from the people who genuinely love him and moves closer to the person who is draining him. This is one of the most painful tragedies men face in their older years. 3. Financial risks. The life you built can disappear overnight. A lifetime of work can vanish because of one relationship mistake. Older men become financially vulnerable for 3 reasons. 1. Compassion. He wants to help. He wants to be needed, so he starts giving more than he should. 2. Guilt. He feels guilty for being older, for being alone, for not giving her the life she deserves. 3. Pressure. Subtle emotional manipulation, disguised as love, and suddenly, savings are drained. Bills he never created become his responsibility. Properties become liabilities. She moves into his home without contributing. He becomes the provider in a relationship that offers no peace. Many older men end up bankrupt, dependent, or financially trapped, not because they were careless, but because they trusted the wrong person in the final chapters of their life. 4. Loss of freedom, the most underrated danger. At 60 plus, a man should be free. Free to rest, free to travel, free to enjoy his hobbies, free to live quietly, free to choose how he spends his mornings. Free to protect his mental and emotional space. But one emotionally demanding woman can turn that freedom into constant arguments, daily obligations, endless emotional expectations, lack of privacy, loss of solitude, pressure to perform emotionally or financially. A life that no longer feels like his own. Older men don't realize this until it's too late, when every decision they make is controlled or influenced by someone who brings more chaos than peace. Remember this truth: freedom is priceless, and no relationship is worth sacrificing it for. 5. Your peace is the foundation of your health. After 60, the man who wins is not the richest, the strongest, or the most romantic. The man who wins is the one who protects his peace. Peace becomes the real currency. Peace becomes the real wealth. Peace becomes the real cure that keeps your mind sharp and your body alive. And nothing destroys peace faster than a relationship built on insecurity, loneliness, manipulation, entitlement, dependency, drama, chaos. This is why being in a relationship at this age can be a big mistake, not because love is impossible, but because love without peace becomes a burden, not a blessing. 6. The real truth: older men have more to lose, and many women know it. The older a man gets, the more valuable his stability becomes. And the more valuable his stability becomes, the more he must protect it. Because there are women who are not looking for companionship. They're looking for a retirement plan. They're looking for a caretaker. They're looking for a man who will tolerate anything because he fears being alone. But a wise man, a stoic man, understands this. Your final years belong to you. Not to loneliness, not to pressure, not to manipulation, not to a woman who has not earned her place in your peace. If you're still listening, drop a comment below. Do you think older men protect their peace enough, or do they give it away too easily? Chapter 4. The Final Trap. When an older man confuses companionship with love and the price he pays for it. There is a hidden truth that almost every older man discovers eventually, but most discover it too late. Loneliness is a powerful illusion. It convinces men to accept less than they deserve. It makes peace feel empty and chaos feel like connection. And when a man reaches his late 50s, 60s, or 70s, loneliness becomes the most dangerous emotional trap of all. This chapter exposes that trap and the heavy price many men pay when they confuse company with love. 1. The mind gets quieter, but the heart gets vulnerable. As you age, you become wiser, calmer, more peaceful, but your emotional needs become sharper. You want someone to talk to, someone to sit with you at night, someone to share meals with, someone who cares whether you wake up in the morning, someone who gives you a sense of meaning. There is nothing wrong with wanting connection, but the danger begins when desire becomes desperation, because desperation blinds older men. It makes them forget their value. It makes them romanticize attention that is not genuine. It makes them confuse affection with obligation, and suddenly a woman who gives you a little warmth begins to feel like a blessing, even if she brings more problems than peace. This is how many older men end up trapped in relationships that drain their souls while convincing themselves it's worth it just to not be alone. 2. The most common lie. Older men tell themselves, I'm too old to start over. I don't want to die alone. At my age, I should be grateful for anything. She needs me, that means she loves me. It's better than being lonely. These sentences have destroyed more older men than bad health, bad finances, or bad luck combined, because the truth is harsh but necessary. You are never too old to choose peace. You are never too old to protect your dignity. You are never too old to start a new life if the one you're living is draining you. A woman doesn't love you because she needs you. She loves you when she respects you, values your time, honors your peace, and brings stability, not chaos. Anything else is not love. It is dependency disguised as affection. 3. The wrong relationship steals a man's identity. When a man becomes too emotionally attached in his older years, he often begins to fade into the background of his own life. He stops spending time with friends, enjoying his hobbies, pursuing personal interests, taking care of his health, making independent decisions, living freely. He becomes more focused on keeping her happy than keeping himself healthy. And that shift, that slow surrender, is what steals a man's identity. A powerful, strong, experienced man can become timid, apologetic, and drained simply because he fears losing the only companionship he has. But companionship should add to your life, not shrink it. Love should expand you, not silence you. Older men must remember this. If she doesn't encourage you to live, grow, and stay strong, then she's not a partner. She's a weight on your soul. 4. The dangerous type of woman. Older men must avoid. There are 3 types of women who are especially dangerous for men over 58 or 60. 1. The caretaker controller. She seems nurturing at first, but slowly begins to dictate every part of your life, your diet, your routines, your friendships, your finances. She uses concern as a mask for control. 2. The emotional burden. Everything is a crisis, everything is dramatic, everything requires you to fix, support, comfort, explain, and sacrifice. Being with her feels like raising an adult child. 3. The opportunist. This woman enters an older man's life for one reason: security. She gives minimal love, minimal respect, minimal effort, but expects maximum rewards, maximum resources, and maximum attention. These women do not want partnership. They want benefits. They don't want companionship. They want convenience. And older men must learn the difference. 5. The final years of a man's life should be the best years. There is a false belief that life becomes dull after 60. This is not true. Your 60s and 70s can become your most peaceful, fulfilling, powerful years, if you protect them. This is the season where you finally understand yourself fully, know what matters and what doesn't, value peace more than drama, appreciate simplicity, desire freedom over excitement, seek depth over attention, become wiser, calmer, more grounded. But if you tie your life to the wrong woman, you lose all of this. Your best years turn into your most stressful years. Your peace becomes your burden. Your home becomes your battlefield. Your emotional health becomes unstable. Your final chapter becomes a story of regret instead of fulfillment. Older men deserve better than this, but they must choose better. 6. The worst mistake. Giving your last good years to someone who hasn't earned them. At 60, 70, or beyond, your time is priceless. Every day matters, every quiet moment matters, every choice matters. And the biggest tragedy is when a man gives the last beautiful years of his life to a woman who doesn't respect him, doesn't care for his well-being, doesn't contribute to his peace, doesn't appreciate his sacrifices, doesn't grow with him, doesn't value his presence. A man's final years should be his reward, not his punishment. You cannot afford to waste your last chapter on someone who drains the life out of it. Golden 7. The real cure for loneliness is not a relationship. Here is the truth older men rarely hear. The cure for loneliness is building a fulfilling life, not attaching yourself to the first person who offers companionship. You overcome loneliness by nurturing friendships, focusing on hobbies, connecting with loved ones, staying active, staying curious, investing in your health, enjoying your solitude, becoming emotionally self-sufficient. A relationship should add to this, not replace it. Because when you rely on a woman to save you from loneliness, you give her power over your entire emotional well-being. And that is a dangerous place for any man to be, especially at this age. If you're still here, drop a comment below. Do you believe loneliness pushes older men into the wrong relationships? The final message. Every man over 58 must hear, brother. If you've made it to the end of this video, then you are not like most men. Most men avoid these conversations. They hide from the truth. They pretend they're okay, even when their peace is dying quietly inside them. But you chose wisdom. You chose clarity. You chose to confront the reality most men never dare to look in the eye. So let me leave you with this final, unwavering truth. Your final years should not be spent fixing a broken person, saving someone from their own chaos, or sacrificing your peace just to feel wanted. No. Your final years should be spent in peace, in clarity, in strength, in freedom, and in deep self-respect. You have spent decades fighting battles, carrying responsibilities, building your life, overcoming storms that would have destroyed weaker men. You do not owe anyone the last drops of your energy. You do not owe anyone your peace. You do not owe anyone access to the life you built through pain, discipline, sweat, and persistence. If the wrong relationship can cost you everything, the right solitude can save you. Solitude builds clarity. Clarity builds strength. Strength builds emotional freedom. And emotional freedom is the true definition of being untouchable as a man. Listen to me and listen carefully. You are not too old to be strong. You are not too old to be selective. You are not too old to start over. And you are definitely not too old to walk away from anything that threatens your peace. Being single at 60 is not a failure. Being single at 70 is not a weakness. Being single at 58 is not a curse. What is a curse is giving your loyalty to someone who brings you nothing but stress, confusion, and emotional instability. You deserve better. And more importantly, you must demand better, because the final chapter of your life is the one you will feel the most. Make sure it is peaceful. Make sure it is dignified. Make sure it is yours. So as you leave this video, carry this with you. Protect your peace like it's your last treasure. Protect your heart like it's the last one you have. Protect your purpose like your life depends on it. Because it does. And if you're listening right now, drop a comment below. Do you believe a man's final years should be spent in peace rather than emotional chaos? Your voice matters, your experience matters, your journey matters. Thank you for watching, brother. If this video spoke to you, inspired you, or opened your eyes, like, share, subscribe, and join the Stoic Golden Tribe, where men rise, men learn, and men become unbreakable. Until next time, stay strong, stay wise, stay untouchable.